Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. In this video we'll learn about casting in Unreal Engine. We'll learn what casting is, why we use casting, what are some limitations of using casting, and also how you can cast to different actors. So let's get started. So casting in Unreal Engine is one of the blueprint communication method that you can use to communicate between different blueprints inside your game. Now, what do I mean by blueprint communication is, let's say when we play the game, we have two actors. One is our player character, and I have created this actor, which can be anything, but just for now, for testing, we have created a test actor, and which only have a sphere collision, and I have placed it inside this level. So now, when I say I want to communicate with it, that means that I want to access the properties of this actor. I want to access its functions or its variables, and then maybe call some specific function that I want to call. Let's say we want to add a small function inside our test actor. So we're gonna go to our test actor, and then inside the event graph, I'm gonna right click and search for custom event, and I'm gonna name it as print string. And when this event is called, all I want is I want to just simply print hello to the screen like this. Now we have created a print string function inside our test actor, and if I play the game, you can see that nothing is happening. Because we only have created this function, we are not calling it from anywhere. So in order to this function to be called, we need to call it from somewhere inside our blueprints. So let's say from event begin play, when our test actor is spawned inside the level, we can just simply call our function, which is print string, and this call function like this, and we can compile save. Now when our test actor spawns inside our level, we'll call the print string function, which is this one. So now if I play, you can see on the top left side we are saying hello. Now let's say that when our player character overlaps with this collision, we then want to call our this print string function. So what we can do is we can just simply delete this from event begin play, and then we can right click on our sphere collision and add an event, and I'm gonna add on component begin overlap, and from here you get the other actor or other component. Now this other actor refers to the actor, the whole actor, which is overlapping to this specific component. So what we can do is from this other actor, we can search for if the other actor is equal to our player character. Then we do something. So why we're checking if it is equal to our player character, so let's say you can have enemies inside your level as well, and your enemies can also overlap with this actor. So we only want to call this function when our player character is just overlapping it. So that's why we're checking if the overlapped actor is equal to our player character, and if it is true, then what we want is we can just simply call our print string function like this. We can compile and save, and now we can just simply play our game, and you can see that when I overlap with this actor, we're saying hello, and I overlap with it again, we're saying hello. Now when we overlap our sphere, and we are calling our print string function, but if you have noticed that we are not casting to anything for now. And why? Because the function that we're trying to call is present inside our test actor as well, and this whole functionality is also present inside the test actor. So that's why we don't need to cast to it again, because we are already using the functions, or we're already using the functionality which is present inside our test actor. Now let's say that we want to call this function from outside this class. Let's say we want to call it from our third person character. So I'm gonna unplug this, and I'm gonna do the same thing. If I go to my third person character and then I go to viewport, uh, I have a capsule component that basically indicates the collisions for my player character. So what we can do is we can just simply right click and add an event, and on component begin overlap like this. So now what I want is when I overlap with this actor, I want to call the function as well, the same function, which is the print string. Now the print string function is present inside our test actor class, and we are trying to call it from our third person character. So if I drag a node from execution and I search for print string, you can see that like this, you can see that I am not getting the function, which is this one. So why? Because the function that I'm trying to call is present in the other class or other actor class, which is our test actor. So to do that, what we can do is from other actor, we can just simply cast to our what's that test actor like this, and then from test actor we can call our print string function like this. And now if I compile and save and I overlap with this actor, you can see that we're calling the hello function again. Now let's say when you cast to something, like we cast to our test actor, we will get the reference of the test actor. So with the reference, we can access the variables and the functions which are present inside this test actor. We can just simply call the maybe print string function, or let's say we create a new variable over here, maybe uh, let's just name it as new variable, and we can just simply get the new variable. We can basically get the new variable value, and we can also set new variable like this as well. So basically when we have the reference to the specific actor that we're trying to communicate with, we can just simply change the values of variables. We can also access their functions, call their functions from the other blueprints as well. Now for casting, you also need to pass in the object because if you don't pass the object, or you pass the wrong object, your cast would fail. So in order to cast to something, that actor should be present inside your level as well. So what goes inside this object is the actual object reference of the actor that you are trying to cast to. So that's why we're using the on component begin overlap, because when a player overlaps with this specific actor, this other actor becomes the reference of this actor, and we can pass this actor reference over here, and then we can pass connect the execution pins, and then we can call the function like this. So for example, now if I play, we are saying hello. Now here I have created a new actor which is again inherited from generic actor class, and I have placed it inside my level. But now when I overlap with this actor, nothing is happening. But when I overlap with my test actor, we're calling hello. So why? Because when we overlap with our test actor, which is this other actor reference becomes of this test actor, and then we are casting to our test actor. So basically we're passing the actual object reference of this test actor, and then we can succeed. But when we overlap with this actor, which we are our new actor, the other actor reference becomes this new actor, which is again not equal to this test actor. However, both of these actors are inherited from generic actor, but their type is not same. Their type is different. This is test actor, which is inherited from generic actor, and this is a separate actor which is inherited from actor. So their types are not same. The object references becomes different. That's why our cast is failed. So in order to cast to something, you need its actual object reference, which is present inside your level. And then by using the nodes like component begin overlap, or by using sphere traces, you can cast to that specific actor. So if their uh, other actor reference and their types matches, then the cast succeeds, else the cast is failed, and then you can do something else from here. So now here I have created two different actors. One is this button and one is this light actor. So what we want is when we overlap with this button, we want to then communicate with this light to turn it on or off. And I have also changed my directional light color so that my light is a little bit more visible. So let's start by creating some functionality to our button and our light actor. Now here is my button blueprint, and here is my light blueprint, and I want you to remember that the button and light, they both are separate blueprints. So we will connect this button with this light in a bit, but for now let's go with our light functionality. So in my bp underscore light, what I want is I want to turn off my spotlight by default. So we can select our spotlight and then scroll down, and inside this visible we will uncheck this. Now you can see that my light is turned off by default, and what I want is when I overlap with this button, I want to turn on the light, and when I stop overlapping with it, I want to turn it off again. So I have a in my button I have a basic cylinder and then a sphere collision to detect the collisions for my player character, and then inside our light we have a static mesh and a spotlight. So what we're going to do is let's start by creating the functionality for our light actor. So inside our event graph, I'm gonna create a custom event and I'm gonna name it as turn on turn on light, and then I'm gonna duplicate it and then I'm gonna rename it as turn off. So we want two functions, one for turning the light on and one for turning the light off. Now for our turn on function, what we can do is we can get our spotlight and then we can search as visible, and then we can add a branch. So we'll check if our light is not previously turned on. So if our spotlight visibility is false, then we want to turn it on. So we're gonna select our spotlight and duplicate it, and then we can search for set visibility like this, and from false we can plug it, and the visibility should be ticked so that it is turned on. And for turning off the light, we do the same thing. We're gonna just simply duplicate this function, and then for turn off, what we want to do is we'll check if the spotlight is visible, and if it is visible, then we want to turn it off like this. So the turn on function will check the visibility of the spotlight, and if it is not visible, it will make it visible, and the turn off function will again check the visibility of our light, and if it is already visible, it will then just set its new visibility to none. Can compile and save. Now we have created two functions inside our light blueprint, but what we want is when we overlap with this button, we want to then communicate with our light actor. So how we're going to do that is inside our button blueprint, we can go to our event graph, and then on the sphere collision, we can right click and add an event for on component begin overlap, and then add another event for on component end overlap. So this begin overlap function would be called when we start to overlap this actor, and then this end overlap function will be called when we are currently overlapping this actor, and then we just stop overlapping it. So what we want is, first of all, again we want to check that the other actor which is overlapping our this sphere is our third person character or a player character, because again there can be AIs inside your level that can also overlap this actor, but we don't want to basically communicate when any AI overlaps this actor. We only want to communicate when our player character is overlapping with this actor. So that's why from here what we can do is other actor, we can search for equal to our player character like this, and we can add a branch which goes like this. And for end overlap, we can just simply duplicate this again and do the same thing, this and like this. So now when our player character overlaps with this button, we want to send a signal to this light so that we can call these functions. So however, the functions that we want to call are present inside our light actor, but we want to call it from our button actor. That means that we want to cast to our light actor in order to access the turn on function or turn off function. Now previously when we overlap with this actor, we get the reference of the whatever actor we are trying to cast. But right now in our case, we're saying that when we overlap with this button, the other actor is our player character, but to cast to our light, we need its object reference, which is present inside our level. So let's say if we cast to our light, which is cast to bp underscore light thus, so we need to pass in the object. So previously what we did is we passed the object from other actor, but if we try to pass the object from other actor, you can see that nothing can happen, because as bp light, let's say we call our turn on function, and now you can see that nothing will happen. And yeah, and why? Because the uh, actor that we're trying to cast to is the BP light, and the reference that we're passing to it as inside the object is the actual reference of our player character. So we need to pass the reference of this light actor inside the object in order to access, or in order to cast to this light and then access this function. Now what we can do is we can just simply unplug this other actor from our object, and we know that our light is present inside our level. So what we can do is instead passing the reference from other actor, we can create a variable, and I'm gonna name it as bp underscore light. And for the value type, I'm gonna set it to generic actor, like this, actor object reference. We can compile and save. And then what I want is I want to drag this light actor and then place it in object like this. We can compile save, and then when we end overlap, we again want to do the same thing. So we can just simply duplicate this, and we can just simply cast to our light again, and then this time what we want is we want to call our turn off function like this. Now what we're saying is that we want to cast to our light, and we have created a new variable which is of type generic actor, and we know that this light is inherited from actor class because its parent class is actor. So that's why we have created a generic actor and then plug it as an object. And now if I compile save and then I play, you can see that nothing will happen for now, and I will tell you why. As you can see that when I'm trying to overlap, my function is not being called, and when I stop overlapping, nothing is happening again. Now this is because we have created a generic actor of type bp underscore light, which is of type actor. But if you click on it and then check the default value is set to none. We are saying that okay, it is a actor, but it doesn't have any default value. So when you create actor generic actor object reference, you cannot change the values from here. However, when you create the generic actor object reference, you can set it like this, and you can then pass the reference. For example, if I want to set bp light to something, you pass the reference like this, then it takes the value of that specific actor or the specific reference that you have passed to it. So for now, we are not getting the reference of this light object from anywhere. So what we can do is instead we can just simply select our bp underscore light and then make it instance editable and expose on spawn. And now what will this do is basically when we place our button inside the level, it will expose this bp underscore light over here as well in our editor details panel. So we can then click on this drop down and select our bp underscore light, and then we can just simply save it. And now you can see when I play and I overlap with this button, my light is turned on, and when I stop overlapping it, our light is turned off. Now there is one more way that you can do the casting, is if you don't want to create the object like this, what you can do is instead, let me just unplug this, and I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna take them to somewhere here. And then what you can do is instead of creating a object reference, you can add a new variable, and I'm gonna name it as just light. And you can, instead of the actor object reference, if I search for actor, so instead of the actor's object reference, you can make in class reference. So what this does is class reference allows you to change the default values right inside your blueprints. So let's say that the default value, I'm going to change it to my BP underscore light like this, and then we can compile and save. And then from true we have a function get actor of class, this one. So it says that define the first actor in the world of the specified class. So it will only returns to true, or it will only returns the that actor reference if it is valid in your level. So we know that our light is placed inside our level, so we can use this method as well. So for the actor class we can pass in our light, which is again the class reference of our bp underscore light, and then from here we can just simply cast to our bp underscore light like this, and then from light we can call our turn on function. So basically this method will help you to find the object, so you can pass the class reference and then select the default value of bp underscore light, and then you'll get the actor of class of this class if it is present inside your level, and then you get the reference of that specific actor, and then you can use it in the object for casting. And we're gonna duplicate this, and from here we can do like this, and then from at the end we want to call our turn off function like this. Now if I compile and save, and you can see that when I overlap with this button, my light is again turned on, and when I stop overlapping it, my light is turned off. Now I have created a door blueprint that we want to communicate with. So what I want is when I press E, I want to open this door. So how we can do that is I'm gonna open up my third person character, just this one, and I'll do line trace or sphere trace for this door. So what I want to say is when I press E key, when I press it, I want to do a sphere trace by channel, and then the start and end location should be my get actor location like this. I'm gonna plug it in the start and end, and then the radius should be somewhere around 50, and the draw debug I can set it to for duration. And let me show you how my trace are gonna look. So when I press E, I'm doing a trace. So when I interact with the door, you can see my trace becomes green. That means that okay, we have hit something. So when we hit or when we overlap with our door, we want to do something. So now inside our door, let's create a new function to open this door. So I'm gonna create a custom event, and I'm gonna call it open door. And when we call this function, what I want is I want to play a timeline for smooth transition, and then I'm gonna open this timeline, and let's add a new float track. I'm gonna rename it as door track maybe, and then let's add a new key value. So when my time is 0 seconds, the value should be 0, and then let's add another. So when my time reaches to 1 second, the value changes to 90, and then we can compile and close this timeline, and over here we got the door track. So what we can do is we can right click and search for make rotator, make rotator like this, and I'll plug this door track inside this Z value. And for the return value, what I can do is I'm gonna get my static mesh, which is of my door, this one, this mesh, and then what we can do is we can call set rotation, set world rotation. Then from update, why there are two of them, from update, and then we can plug the return value like this. You can compile and save. This is very basic function. What will happen is it will play the timeline, and then my this door mesh rotation would be changed, like it will go somewhere like this or maybe this. So yeah, we'll check. So now what I want is when my when I press E, I do a sphere trace, and over here we got a return value. So this becomes to true when we successfully hit something, and then from out hit we can just simply break our hit results, and we have our head actor reference. So again, head actor, when we do line trace and our trace hits with this door, this head actor would become the reference of this door present inside our level. So in order to again cast to our door, because we want to cast to our door because we want to access this open door function. So in order to cast to door, oops, not class, but cast to door like this, we need a object or the object reference that is present inside our level of this actor. So when we our trace hits with this door, this hit actor will become the object reference of this door. So we can just simply plug this hit actor in object, and then as pp door, we can call our open door function like this. We can compile and save, and then we can let's test this out. So now when I press E, you can see that my door is opened, and similarly when I overlap with this button, our light is turned on and then turned off. So that's how we can communicate between different blueprints in Unreal Engine. Now there are some limitations to the casting. Let's say you have another actor similar to door that you want to interact with using line trace. So let's say when you interact with something else than the door, this cast should fail. So then you want to access the functions that are present inside the other actor. So then from cast fail, you need to cast to any other actor that have functionality and then call their function. And if their cast fail, you need to cast to any other. So yep, casting can become a mess, totally mess, and it can also just makes your blueprint look messy. So for example, if there are 100 of actors inside the game or 100 of objects inside your game that you want to pick or you want to interact with, you need to cast to each and every actor. And let's say when you cast to 100 of different actors, your blueprints will become much annoying, much messier. And also when you cast to something, you are creating a hard reference of that actor inside your memory. Now, what do I mean by creating hard reference is, let's say, for example, in our third person character, we cast it to our door, right? So that means that we are telling Unreal Engine that, okay, we are using or we will cast to this door somewhere. And what Unreal Engine does is Unreal Engine creates a hard reference to this door, which would be always loaded inside the memory whenever our player character is basically spawned inside the level. So let's say if I delete this door actor from my level and then I play, however, the door actor is not present over here, but the door actor still loads when my player character loads in. So you can also check it by going to content drawer, and inside your player characters folder, you can right click on your player character blueprint and go to reference viewer, and you can see that we have door over here. So basically these are the all things that are loaded when your player character loads in the level. So you can see that because we're casting to the door, our this door is also loaded whenever our character is spawned in. Also, what you can do is you can also check the size map of the this actor when it is loaded. So you can see that my size map is shown over here, and also down here we have our bp underscore door loaded as well. Now let's say that from our player character from cast fail, let's just simply cast to our button that we created, and then from hit actor, let's go, and then maybe from then we can cast to our uh, bp underscore light as well, like this. And then we can just add this. Oh, it is not this button, but cast to bp underscore button, this one. So now what will happen is I'm only just casting and I'm not calling any function. If I compile and save, and now I go back to my reference viewer, and if I refresh it, you can see that now button is also loaded whenever my character is loaded, and the light is also loaded. And similarly, you can again check the size map of how the size map is increased. And over here we have button, here we have door, and there should be light somewhere as well. Yep, over here we have light as well. So that's how basically casting works. When you uh, are casting to different actors, maybe 100 of different actors, you're increasing your references, and your increases the amount of memory that is being consumed when your player character is spawned inside the level. So now there are other methods that you can use instead of casting, like event dispatchers or blueprint interfaces, but we'll cover them maybe later. But yeah, there are some limitations to casting as well. So you need to be a little bit more careful when you want to cast, and when you want to use interfaces and other methods. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys like it, and if you guys like it, please make sure to leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.